Let me start from the beginning. So, from work yesterday, I went for a strategy session with a group that I work with in church, and then we had a tarry. We slept around 7 a.m. I woke up 8. The driver called me and said, "I'm outside the gate of the estate where we went to have the strategy session, and I need the code." And because I know the host probably would have slept around maybe 7:30, because I went to bed around 7. And she's still jet lagged. So I didn't want to disturb her. I just said, okay, I will drive myself to the gate. And then I drove myself to the gate, and then while coming, someone had called me to say, please, when are you coming? I said, okay, I just want to get home, just sleep a bit, then I'm here. And then he called me again, and then someone else called me again and said, can you let me know when you are here? And I needed to branch in church. And then I saw the reminder. I said, oh, God. And then by the time I came, I didn't even tell them that I was coming. He knew I was on my way. How he knew, I did not know. And then I saw, and I was like, wow. And I joined my voice with with the previous speakers to say, this is excellence. And I am proud. And one of the things I tell people is that when God was making man, God was intentional about it. Can you imagine? Have you tried to look at people when they sleep and the way their eyes look from the other side? God, very scary. But look at how beautiful you are. Look at yourself. Bring out your phone. Bring out your phone. Turn on your camera. And do selfie. Do selfie. And admire yourself and say, oh, more. I fine. Just look at yourself. If you are not doing it, you don't understand what I'm saying. Look at yourself and say, oh, more. I fine. Even me, I know that I'm fine. I set. I day. Now me the rain. Hallelujah. Amen. Sorry, are we in church? Sorry, I'm just used to this. Okay, so my name is Victory Olumuyiwa, and I'll tell you a story. And because I talk a lot, so can somebody tell me 5 minutes to the end? Somebody should just be telling me. Great, thank you. Because I talk a lot, especially when it comes to things like this. And I'll be talking about Kingdom Ascension Secrets. And I'll tell you my story. My mother, my grandfather had 2 girls. One from my grandmother, and my grandmother, my actual grandmother, passed on when my mom was probably 3 years old. So my grandfather's elder sister, who was married to a bishop and did not have a biological child, and the bishop died earlier, adopted my mom and started taking care of my mom. And all she knew was Christ. And one day, my grandfather asked my grandmother, my mom, to pound yam. That was in the middle, around 8 p.m. To pound yam for him, an Elisha man, typical of them, right? And my mom was pounding the yam, and then there was this sharp pain. And they called my uncle-in-law. It was a family house, so please don't mind my description. So they just relocated. They just came back from London with their children, so they were in the compound. And then he had a Peugeot. So was the chief accountant of Guinness. So then they rushed my mom to Ainke House. And my grandfather was waiting outside with my uncle-in-law. And 1 hour precisely, my mom told me, my grandfather, so the doctor came out, and my grandfather said, "How is my daughter?" You know, those accents. And then the doctor said, "Congratulations, she has a girl." My grandfather said, "You must be out of your mind. I brought my daughter, mentioned the name. Can we just go in?" And then when he got in, they were in the ward asking people, "Please, do you have clothes? Please, can we just borrow napkin? Can we borrow? Can we just to?" And then I was told that I was like lizard, scaly. I'm very serious, as in scaly, scaly, scaly. And then they asked my mom, "How come?" And then fathers, being who they were, walked home. Agege, from Ainke house to Agege, walked home in the middle of the night and brought the elder sister. African parents. Once somebody offends, every other person in the house is, so brought the elder sister. I said, "Oh, that's my mom's step sister," and then said, "Oh yeah, come and explain how." And then that one called my mom and said, "But we did something now. We did something. I gave you blue. You guys won't know blue, right? Arrow come. Oh, you won't know it. This stone. Wait, I gave you something now. You saw your blood. So how come? And that the thing came out. So how come?" I said, "I don't know. But you are seeing your period, because in family house you would see, you will have elderly mummies and that would be monitoring all the girls in the house to be sure that you have your period. So when you have your period, you would come, they would be the one to hand over the napkin they didn't use her then." So my mom was seeing her period. And then the eldest of them, we used to call her Mommy Eko, came out and said, "Iyanuloluwa." And that became my first name. I said, "Iyanuloluwa. How come this girl was pregnant and nobody knew?" So the next thing was, who is the father? And then they went to my dad, and my dad said, okay, they went to the person. And he said, "No, God forbid. I'm not responsible." So my grandmother, the person I know as my grandmother, then picked me up. And that became my journey. And so, Bishop was still alive, because I met Bishop. I'm sorry, I jumped. So I met Bishop, who were in mission house. So that was how we went to the church yard, and I became the church girl. But I knew that every time I come in, people will stop talking. And then I got to know that, and then I used to pity people. You know why? So I started school, and God blessed me with a bit of brilliance. So during I don't know if that still happens now, during the end of year party, I used to dance cultural dance a lot. So Aki 1K, $8, see me. You know those things. Because there was nothing else I could do. And then I used to pity people, because I had pens. I used to write my name. For those of you who used to write your names and slide the names inside it. And I used to memorize the BIC, BR161 and 16A. The number of my BIC. BIC used to come in with numbers those days. So if you steal my BIC, I will look for it. So, and then I used to wonder that how can two people own one thing? How can you have a father and a mother owning you? So I was so contented with my grandmother, the only one owning me. Until one day, I didn't know my mom was my mom, right? I knew my mommy as the only one. And I knew that in the compound, they used to talk somehow. So one day I was coming back from school. Okay, no. So the then Lagos State government, I sat for one exam. I went for a competition and I won the first position in Lagos State. And then they showed in NTA, that I want to grease my mommy and my daddy. So they showed me, and then they announced, and then I was coming back from school and I saw my grandfather. He had a double-barrel gun. licensed. And then I saw my grandfather chasing someone with a gun. And then people were trying to hold him. He fired into the air. Da, 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 da. And then people were running. I was like, what's Grandpa doing? So Mommy held me by the hand and told me, Bomo, Bomo, one tao. Anybody that calls you that is your father, don't follow the person. So by the next day, I saw a man pass. Okay, so my head teacher came to call me from the class and said, somebody's looking for you. Because the award was meant to be the next week. So the person came. Now somebody's looking for you. And I went to the headmistress and said, this is your father. I said, okay. And I walked away because I didn't understand what it means to have a father. And that was my primary 6. I didn't understand what it means to have a father. So, and I walked away. I just said, okay. And I walked away. And he came with a brand new Volkswagen B2. So I just walked away. And then the day of the award, I can't remember whether he was there or not, but I know my mommy was there. So that was the contentment of life for me. And then my mother, then it got to a time that then I started living some weeks with my mom because she had remarried and she had other girls. And the man said, oh, you have girls. These girls can't amount to anything. You had first girl, then 3 additional girls. What will girls do? So chased her out. So she came back to the family house. So I started living with my mom, the apartment, and then in between all of this, my mom opened the only business she could do, and that was a beer parlor. But don't forget that I had been raised as a church girl, and I gave my life to Christ quite early in life. As in, with an encounter, knowing Christ for Christ, not bishop's child or church girl. As in, I gave my life to Christ when I was 13. And so I knew Christ. My punishment when I was growing was, well, go and read Psalm 91, memorize. I didn't know my grandmother could not even read until much later in life. If I just come and you go to me, sorry, okay, want anybody, but also and I was like, how did she see it? So, and then because she was gifted with, I don't know what kind of gift God gave her. So one day I tried because she said I shouldn't go to anybody's house. And I'm going to school. She would say, she would give me the instructions. I already knew it. I used to help her to complete it. So one day I said, let me even try it. So I went to my friend's house, Sinuke, and then when I sat down, I ate ofada rice with 6 plantain and 2 pieces of meat. I ate and I quickly came back. And that was on a Friday where we used to paint you guys won't know, where we used to break battery, dry cell, and then we will use it to darken the board. So while others were doing that, I quickly did that Sinuke's run and came back to school. So she knew that on Fridays we would darken the board. So as the bell rang that we should all go home, I went home. So as I got home and I knelt down and she said, where are you coming from? I said, from school. She said, ṣé ojú mi ò tẹ̀lé ẹ lọ nígbà tó jẹ ìrẹsì àti dòdò mẹ́fà? Oh God. So from then, I just knew that this woman is a witch. Let me just stay. Whatever she says I should do, let me do. Because she would know. The day somebody punishes me, so where am I going? I'm building a story. And so, I think I was in GS3 or something, I can't remember. My mom had a beer parlor. At that time, I did not realize that the time they gave birth to me, my grandmother was already 60. She was 60. So she was already not that strong. You can imagine, I come back from school, I just leave my uniform, she will wash. The only thing I knew how to do was pray. And then we will declare, those are the things I knew how to do. And they sounded like incantation because I enjoyed the way they come to reality. And one day, I was in my mother's shop typical me, I will be reading at the back, and then somebody parked another brand new car, and then I saw the man. I'd seen the man before, maybe 3 years ago, and then he came with his friends, and they came to the beer parlor, and then of course we were 4 girls, so we were serving people, and I just heard him say, "Come, do you people come to this shop?" I said, "Yes, every day." He just faced the friend and said, "You can never end well." And he just carried his load and just left. And that was just it. The realization of the journey of life dawned on me when I heard it, that, come, that's your father. That is a sentence. What do you want to do with your life? How will you connect with purpose? How will you get to where you want to get? In my life, I had never seen duplex, but I had the idea in my subconsciousness that the kind of house I want to live when I get money is I'll be upstairs, looking downstairs to talk to people. Because we didn't have TV, of course. We didn't have TV. We only had transistor radio, and I used to be the one to dry the batteries when they are about to swell. I'll dry them outside. So how did all of this happen? Now I'll be discussing with us. I remember back then in Agege Tabo, for those of us who are very conversant with Agege, none of you would know Tabo. I can bet. So back then at the back of our family house, we had a mechanic, Babarisi. And I'm trying to tie the story. And then when people bring their vehicle, it would go under the vehicle. And then we'll say, how do they used to say? "Oh yeah, raise there. Oh, and then it will come out. And then check the battery. "Oh yeah, to raise. Cranking the engine. Igniting the engine. Trying to ignite and give power for the engine to start. Now there are instances where you would crank the engine, but the battery cannot power the engine. So it gives you Most of us are at that phase in our life. Now, you would have, because you need starters. The manufacturers of engine are very intentional. I'm an accountant, by the way, so I'm not so good with sciences. I was taken from GSS3. You know, they would do this aptitude test and then take us to science class. They said, you're so good. You will make this school proud. Better Grammar School. You won't know the school. Agege. So you will make this school proud. Go to science. I just carried my bag. I said, I'm not cut out for this commercial. And it's only the never do wells. I used to go to commercials in my days. So the teachers were very angry. The principals was angry. They were like, why are you in commercial? I said, this is what I want to do. So you need to apply sufficient electrical current to the starter motor to energize the engine for you to be able to produce power to ignite the engine. So it means that in you, if you do not have the sufficient electrical power, or if your battery is dead, or the starter, for the science people, I don't know all of those things, but I used to see my husband. God blessed us with a car 2 years ago. And then my husband was not around. And I tried starting it. My wonderful driver told me, it's not starting though. I said, new car, it shouldn't be. He said, it's not starting. And then we found out that, of course, they changed the battery. And you will wonder that a very beautiful car, why will a very beautiful car not start when you try to ignite it? And look at the power of ignition. There were instances, there was a time that you need to have the key, insert the key and turn before it starts. These days, the power is in your hand. How many of us are relying on other people to ignite our car? Or have you taken the power into your hands to say, I'm pressing the button and I must ignite? Now, what was the first thing I did? The map of faith. When I realized that I had nobody, some people will preach to you and say you should love God. I had no choice. That's the only person I can love. Because there is no journey of my life that has been without God. My mother was raising us. I wish the last speaker was there. My mother raised us from her pain. As I'm coming back from school like this, or my mom sits outside and see a man trying to cross the road, and maybe the man just looks back, or a boy, my mother will come inside and say, I want to hear me. She raised us from her pain, and she didn't know any better. I cannot blame her. Wonderful woman. She wanted the best for us, and she couldn't do better. So the only thing I had was a map of faith, and I bless God for the churches I attended at my early stage. And I knew that, my grandmother's church, beautiful. I had the foundation of faith, but I needed something, an experience bigger and stronger than that. And I took on the challenge. I used to tell people, I said, from 7, I knew how to fast. As in, you need something from God. You will be the one to fast and pray. Nobody will teach you. As in, fasting was my life. Sometimes when I put my pictures on my DP, people laugh. I got married as a size 6. Size 6, proper size 6. Meaning fasting, proper fasting. Because you have no other choice. The map of faith. The energizing my inner power. Then the key of trust. A lot of us have a challenge. We believe that surrender is weakness. I love a song. It says, my lifetime, if I give God. What is your life in your hand? What is the worth? What is the use? Thank you, ma. What is the use? As in, I am nothing outside of God. Nothing. Abiko shola Jesu kini mo je. Biko shola Jesu ta lo mo mi o. Mo dúpẹ́ o Jesu wípé mo jọlá rẹ. Who knows me? I was in Agege. Guess what I did? I ran for my life. I ran because I looked around. The only person I wanted to be like was the chief accountant of Guinness, whose number, for you to know how passionate I was immediately after MKO Abiola. There were 3 of them that became RN, registered accountants, members of Institute of Chartered Accountants. I was closely monitoring him. What do you do that made you different? And I knew that environment could not sustain me. Because I looked around, nobody. The only thing they knew how to do was to have boyfriends, follow men, cheap talks. I said, no. The only place I was getting the nutrients was in the church. Immediately I get home, the next thing, I asked you, what's in box? Our pastor Koluma Konfunloyun. Guess what? I knew I needed to run. I ran for my life. What is the vision for your life? I remember in 1995, I was attending WOFB. That's Word of Faith Bible. I was part of the first set in the Bible school. I was in the pursuit of God. And then Papa said we should craft a vision for our life. By then, I had 20 years plan, 10 years plan, 40 years plan. The only thing I've not done in all my plan was to buy a private jet. I had those things. 5 minutes more, right? Thank you. I'll be fast. Now, service. A lot of us don't like to serve. You know why we don't like to serve? We see it as demeaning. Guess what the recommendation and the CV of Elisha was? They said, kings were discussing in their private. Kings were discussing that. Can we just talk? They said, there is one man who used to pour water and who used to pour water in the hands of Elisha. Where are you serving? And then a lot of us are not resilient. I won't want to talk about it. Then who is your mentor? Who is your coach? Then give room to organic growth. Organic growth. When I started working, when I decided to work, the only opportunity I had was, how many of us know Juwoye Market? I did daily contribution in a bank. They said contract job. I said, yes, I'll take it. I was a chartered accountant. By the way, I qualified when I was doing my OND. So I was intentional about it. I wasn't, because JAMB was jambing me, and I said, what is the meaning of this? Because I had a learning disability interpreting OBJ. You should know your weakness. I could not pass JAMB. The highest I got in JAMB in my life was 86. And I had gotten my school cert from SS1. So I couldn't pass JAMB. So I now said, okay, let me go for part-time. I wasn't even going to go for full-time. I went for part-time. And while I was in part-time, I didn't have time to waste. I put in for ICANN straight. And I qualified before I even finished my OND. So you can imagine at that level, I had qualified. My HND, I saw when, because the lecturers who were not qualified were victimizing me. And I said, you know what? And I still qualified. I still got scholarship, federal government scholarship to finish my, as in God helped me. Because it was either God or nothing. Sorry, can I borrow 5 minutes? Please, can I borrow 5 minutes, please? Thank you. So, but this one is the hard 5 minutes. So, what did I do? I decided that, you know what? I will take this job. Do not despise the days of your little beginnings. And I took the job and I started collecting. My first day, it was in Ojuwoye. I started collecting daily contribution. Then our supervisor from the region came and said, what's your qualification? I said, I'm a chartered accountant. I said, no, you are too good for this job. And then the next day, they took me to the head office. And then the rest is history. So, who is in your companion? The companion of fools. I wouldn't want to mention the other thing. Now, what's your dragon? I've mentioned the treasures within you. The Bible says we have this earthen vessel. These treasures in earthen vessel. And the Bible says that, see, the earth, the whole creator, they are waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. How are you manifesting? Are you preparing for your manifestation? Hallelujah. Now, what are your dragons that can limit you? They are within, they are without. The first thing is your background. Most of us will look at it. I don't have a father. My parents are not rich. Hello? All through my primary school, they used to donate uniform to me. They used to give me books. As in, I remember, I remember all my primary school teachers. You know why? From Miss Sisonipede, I was at their burial, all of them that died. There's only one that is living, my primary 4 teacher. I still spoke with her daughter yesterday. Meaning that they impacted my life. They would take me to the store, give me uniform, because I must do march past. If they are looking for who to represent the school, it will be me. This girl does not have uniform. My uniform. And I didn't have books because I was being raised by my grandmother. Your background, your environment, they shouldn't limit you. What they will say, past failures. Oh, it never happened in my family. The pattern I know, I have no man to help me. We all know that man. How many years did he stay there? 38 years, because he had no man to help him. And I make bold to tell you, none of the jobs I've gotten have I ever applied. I have never. God sought me out. Meaning that there is nothing he cannot do for you. Now, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing it. And I've come to challenge you that within you, tell yourself and say, I am gold mine. And who is the miner? I'm the miner. I'm the miner, because if other people discover you, they will exploit you. They will exploit you. You are the gold mine and you are the miner. You can imagine how much mineral resources have been taken out of Zamfara for peanuts. If you wait for people to discover you, they will exploit you. And I come to challenge you that nothing in your background, in your experience, in your journey of life should limit you. It's as far as your eyes can see. I keep telling my friends, I'm tired of where I am. The next place I'm going to is World Bank. I want to be talking to countries. I'm tired of talking to banks and bank MDs. I'm tired of talking to treasurers of banks. I want to be talking to presidents of countries and telling them this is the impact. And today, God has blessed us with a foundation. What I went through, I do not want anybody to go through it by the grace of God. I didn't see anybody to advise me. The only advice I was getting was from the pulpit. And one of the things I'll drop with young people is that, please, when God bless you with mentors, don't chase them away by begging. You see this TREM, I joined TREM in 1997. I would come to TREM. After service, I would walk back home, Yabatek, with joy. I never begged anybody for transport fare. I had mentors, I had people I was looking for, and they had cars. I could easily walk up to them and say, please, can I would walk from Yabatek with my cohorts. And the souls I won, we will joyfully come. Then my husband and I were cutting. I will beg my husband to take them back. I will walk back joyfully. I never begged for money from any of them. Now, do they give me money today? In TREM, if I want to raise money for myself, I can raise, within 3 hours, I can raise 100 million. And they will not say no. I mean, I am 99.9% sure that anybody that I mention any amount to in TREM today would give me, and I will raise within 2 hours 100 million. They don't even need to know the purpose. Meaning that when God bless you with mentors, don't abuse opportunities, because there is gain in the future. God bless you.